Welcome back to Positive Pulse. I'm your host, Nancy Correa. Before we went on that short commercial break, we were looking at the role of a father. And like Dr. said, men do have actual roles when it comes to pregnancy by supporting the mother of your baby. Now, I want us to look at some of the complications that may come or you might experience when you are pregnant. So, Dr. I want us to talk, what are some of the signs that actually say that there's something wrong with your baby or there's something that is not right?
Thank you so much, Nancy. Let me just take you a little bit back where we had said that the first antenatal clinic, that is the part whereby you were told, and each and every other clinic you will be reminded of these things, like what to eat, what to dress, what to carry, on everyday activities, exercise that you're supposed to do, and so forth and so forth. However, apart from this birth preparedness, you'll also be told the danger signs or signs that will tell you that my pregnancy is not safe. And some of the signs that actually they will tell you is severe headache. When you start experiencing very severe headache, they will tell you to report immediately to the health facility that you chose to be doing your antenatal clinics and delivery. Another sign is actually when you start feeling a lot of abdominal pain. Excessive abdominal pain, it is not time for your delivery, or you start experiencing vaginal bleeding, and we also start experiencing things like dizziness and sweating, and also when the baby movement in the womb has reduced. You're actually supposed to monitor the baby's playfulness in the womb. So when you notice that he has reduced or she has reduced in her movements or in her playfulness, you're actually supposed to report, because this is an indication that this baby is not well. Not even a reduction in the movement. If the baby completely stops playing, you're supposed not to wait immediately. Go to so when the baby is not playing, when it reduces in the movement, when you start experiencing vaginal bleeding or drainage of liquor, the women say it majam toto. When you start experiencing such signs and it is not time for delivery, you actually advised to go to the hospital. Excessive headache, when you start feeling like you can't see clearly, such things are actually danger signs. And you're supposed to go to the hospital.
You talked about bleeding. Does it mean that if you bleed now, you are going to have a miscarriage?
Bleeding, some women term bleeding as if it's normal, but there's nothing like normal bleeding except menstruation. And in this case, you don't experience menstruation. But when there is bleeding during pregnancy, it could be a sign of a miscarriage. It could be a sign of abortion. And it could be a sign that the baby it's delivery time. But mostly when you see bleeding during pregnancy, it could mean that either the placenta is not right, or it's not correctly located. We call it it's actually not very well located. And it could also be a sign of miscarriage.
So you're not supposed to bleed at all?
There's no bleeding that is expected during pregnancy. So when you experience any bleeding of any sort, whether spotty or any other type, and you are pregnant, rush to the health facility that you chose.
Thank
you
for that. What about some of the risk factors that can actually lead to serious complications?
Some of the risk factors that are common to most women that we've come across are when you have an underlying medical condition. Before you became pregnant, there are women who had underlying medical conditions that actually poses a great risk to them and also the baby. And this, especially the mothers who had underlying problems or medical conditions and they did not plan for the pregnancy and they did not seek advice, such women are actually at risk. Something else that poses a risk during pregnancy is strenuous activities or doing exercises that actually will hinder the well-being of the baby. And also, we also have trauma. When you involve yourself in an accident, however minor it is also a risk. And then lifestyle like smoking, excessive drinking of alcohol actually poses a risk to the baby.
Okay, before you said about exercising. Does that mean that once you're pregnant, you're not supposed to exercise?
I didn't say that basically, but you know there are exercises that will render uncomfortability to the baby.
Okay.
There are exercises that you're not allowed to do when you're pregnant. However, the exercises that are allowed,
Okay.
they do not actually put much pressure on the pregnancy. So avoid excessive or strenuous exercises. You can actually walk,
Okay.
you can do swim. Walking is very good.
Walking is very.
And some swimming at least.
You can swim when you're pregnant.
Yeah, you can. Or you can actually walk, but exercise like running, you know, such strenuous exercises
Those yoga things
are not allowed in pregnancy.
So women should actually avoid yoga when they are pregnant. Avoid yoga. Okay, on the same, you said about complications can come due to using of drugs like alcohol, cigarettes. So what are some of the effects? What can they do to the what can they harm the baby? Actually,
most drugs, you know, when you're pregnant, even when you have some medical conditions and you're pregnant, and you have a medical condition, there are drugs that are contraindicated in pregnancy.
Okay.
So it is not only drugs, narcotics, and smoking and alcoholism that poses a risk. Even the other drugs that are medical, that actually when used during pregnancy, they can cause harm to the baby. So, and some of the effects of each category of the drug has its own effects.
Okay.
But the general effects that we get from these medications, like miscarriage, we can get a miscarriage, we can get an abortion, we can get intrauterine fetal death. The baby could die in utero. We can get a blighted ovum. We call it blighted ovum, whereby yes, you're pregnant, but the baby is not growing.
Okay, the baby can actually not grow.
The baby can fail to grow in utero.
Okay.
So, and this could be an effect of either trauma, or either incompatibility, or effects to do with the drugs and so forth and so forth. So when the baby is not growing, or the baby is died in utero, or we have a miscarriage, or we can also have malformations.
Okay.
Whereby you've seen women deliver children that are not actually well formed. Yeah, so those are the effects.
Okay.
Or we can deliver a baby who has malformations, either being born with teeth and so forth and so forth. These are general effects of these drugs. So, another effect that I wanted to allow me to mention is you can get early delivery, or you can get
premature.
You can get preterm or premature delivery due to these medications and effects of these drugs.
Oh, so it's that serious?
It's this serious, and that's why the government, in conjunction with WHO, has put aside that every month you're pregnant, you're supposed to visit antenatal clinics, so that some of these things can actually be picked early and managed, so that we safeguard the well-being of the baby and also the mother.
Okay.
And during these clinics, trust me, there's a lot of teaching that goes on, how to prepare and how to avoid these things and how to report and what exactly to do. We also have things like also stress that actually affect these mothers.
Okay.
Yes, and such things are actually advised.
So stress can put your baby in the harm's way.
Miscarriage.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we were still talking on the same. Yes. There are those women who have medical condition like maybe asthma, hypertension, HIV. Can you advise them to get pregnant if they want to have a baby? Can they have a baby?
Yeah, sure.
And are they going to have a healthy baby? How can they go about by making sure that no, they are going to have a healthy baby?
Thank you, Nancy. We have some medical conditions that are underlying, or that they were there before this lady becomes pregnant. And most women know. They know that, they know their health.
Okay.
They know that, hey, I'm a hypertensive, or I am asthmatic, or I'm HIV positive, and so forth. I have this and this condition before they become pregnant. But most of them, they don't actually, or they assume it's just normal. They don't actually visit a health facility, or they visit their family doctor to advise them or to tell them, hey, I have this condition, but I need a baby.
Yeah.
So we advise such women before you get pregnant and you have underlying medical condition, that you should visit a health facility or your doctor. He will advise you accordingly. We are not saying really that you're not supposed to get pregnant. You are supposed to. But if you are having some underlying medical condition, it's good that you get advice from the professionals, so that when they will tell you that it's the right time to get pregnant, this is what you will do, and therefore when such happens, we will be, the medical team will be able to monitor you every other visit, to monitor you, so that to make sure that your health is monitored
And your baby
and does not even affect the baby in utero. So when doing that, we even during delivery, they will, these medical practitioners, they will go with you throughout the journey, making sure
all
that
the way.
all the way, to make sure that they walk with you through the journey, they manage your condition so that it does not rise at a point whereby it affects the baby.
Okay.
And even during the delivery and even after, they will be alert. And they will know that this lady is hypertensive, has this disease. So during delivery, they will be alert to make sure that no complications.
So there is nothing to be afraid of.
There's
You
nothing
can
to be
actually
afraid
have a
of.
healthy baby,
Yes, you
even
can
if you
have
have a medical condition.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. No, I always find this question very interesting. We already know when you're pregnant, of course, your tummy is going to, you know. Yeah, but what are some of changes that your body is going to experience when you're pregnant and after you're pregnant?
Okay, thank you.
After you give birth.
After you
Sorry.
give birth, oh,
Yeah.
okay. You know, there are changes that took place when you became pregnant.
Yeah.
And before you became pregnant, you were like, yeah, you know. Then you became pregnant, some changes took place, and you had to adapt with them. But again, after delivery, there are changes that will occur. You'll not remain the same way. And well, some might assume might get back to the almost normal, but will not be back to normal. Others will not go back to normal.
Okay.
So, for instance, after delivery, you know, you have to breastfeed, and then you know, your tummy was carrying
Yeah,
someone
baby.
inside, so it will not be back to
Flat tummy.
the way it was. And again, your menstruation periods will, of course, take some leave. Let me call it a leave. But with some time, it shall come back to normal. So these changes will actually take place, and then your cervix, and then your vagina will have some little bit of adjustment. So with time, these changes might come back to normal, almost normal, but they'll not come back to normal.
And gaining weight, it's okay to gain weight when you're pregnant?
No, that will actually depend on what you eat or what you do on your daily activities. Some people gain weight, others don't, others remain the same. So it is a question of what you do with your health. Yes.
Okay, and you find a lot of women asking about when sleeping. Are there like specific styles specific styles of sleeping, so that you don't harm the baby?
Thank you for that. And most people don't know this, but let me just put it straight. The scientists have not, or the doctors have not come up with, or the WHO have not come up with a way that really tells us that this is the way you're supposed to sleep, and not this. However, it is the WHO, in conjunction with the government of Kenya and the medical practitioners, actually advise that when a lady is sleeping in one position, you actually should keep on changing with time, so that you actually don't sleep on one side, and you know, the baby has to keep on moving.
Okay, so the baby actually moves.
The baby should be playful. Whether
All
you are
round.
asleep.
Okay, let me get this.
Sometimes he sleeps, sometimes he'll be playing.
The baby sleeps in the stomach.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. And you're
He
saying
has
the
a
baby,
lot of fun.
the baby can move.
Yes.
That means like this side, maybe the head might be on this side, so it can also go to the other side. Yeah.
The baby will move in the womb. The baby will move according to his age.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's the time the movements will start, he'll increase, and definitely he has to come out. So when the lady sleeps, actually he's supposed to not sleep on one position for too long. He has to keep on changing, and that is where the role of men come in.
No, you're supposed to To help your wife.
You help your wife after you've slept for like 4 hours, change the sleeping position.
Okay.
That is where now we come in.
Still on the main issue, is it advisable to have a sexual intercourse when you're pregnant? Is it going to harm the baby?
Thank you. Thank you for that. So many people ask that question.
Yeah.
But if you visit antenatal clinics, these are the things that you will be told. And they won't fear. They'll tell you point blank. As long as coitus has not been contraindicated, you know, there are some medical conditions that were underlying in this lady before became pregnant. And then there are medical conditions that come during pregnancy. So in such cases, we find that some of those conditions will warrant the health practitioners to contraindicate sex during pregnancy.
Okay.
So unless it is not contraindicated, sex is still allowed, even until the day you go for delivery, unless it is contraindicated.
Okay.
But I have to caution this because you're not going to use all the styles in the world.
Okay.
But as long as the lady is, depending on how big the tummy is, the lady can use positions that are actually safe.
And they can't harm the baby.
Comfortable. So as long as she's comfortable and it is not been contraindicated, it is safe.
Okay, talking about giving birth, how can you tell when you're going to give birth? Because some women, you know, they get pregnant and then they can't actually tell when did they, like, you know. Yeah, so how can you tell when you're going to give birth?
Okay. When you visit antenatal clinics, again, I'm going to refer you to the
Yeah, you've been preaching, actually. I hope whoever is watching can hear that.
Lessons that you get all these things. They will tell you that these are the signs that will tell you that it is now time for to deliver. They will tell you.
So there are signs?
Yeah, there are signs of labor.
Kindly mention them briefly because of time.
Signs of labor. You will start experiencing low abdominal pains that actually come and go. You'll start feeling like, you know, the way the women express, the baby is just coming, and then the abdominal pain that actually is cyclical. They just come for a few minutes, and then they're so intense, and then they disappear. You know, they have a pattern.
Okay.
Yeah. And then with time, you start feeling like this drainage of liquor. Like they say that maji ya mtoto inatoka, there will be drainage of liquor. So these are signs of pregnancy. But I don't think there is a lady who has who gets this by surprise.
No.
If you've been attending the dental clinic, it should not get you by surprise because you've been told. And again, on your clinic card, because you have that antenatal card, or that book that is provided freely by the government, it is actually indicated that between this and this time, it is your delivery period. Okay, so within this period, you are supposed to deliver.
Okay.
And if it goes beyond this period, come to the hospital, we will induce the labor.
Okay, we are out of time, but I want to I've heard some women say now that when they were in labor pains, they were screaming, and then the doctor says, "Don't scream when you get this pain." Why is that?
I don't really think. Okay, most times it's the nurses who deliver, and I've not come across such a case. But you know, there have been cases, the nurses mistreated.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to scream. Does it have to do anything with the baby?
No. Because if you are in pain, you'll definitely scream. And women say that this is the greatest pain in their life. Therefore, they will do.
Stop scaring women with that, doctor.
They actually, if they describe such a pain, they describe it as the worst pain in their life. But it is through pain that the baby comes.
Okay.
So no one tells you not to, don't scream and all that.
Okay,
but
so
if you're in pain, you'll just scream.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We are out of time, but we'll see you next week, right?
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm so excited to be part of the show, and I hope to be back.
And it's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that is what we had for you today. I hope you have learned a thing or two. Remember, if you have any question, feedback, or comment, you can post them on our social media platforms. That is Focus TV Kenya on Facebook, at Focus TV Kenya on Twitter, and Focus TV _Kenya on our Instagram, or you can send in your SMS to 2254. This has been Positive Pulse, and I've been your host, Nancy Korea, and thank you so much for the support. Until next time, may God bless you.